We're online. Share the love this spring with Oak Ridge Dental Care. Oak Ridge Dental Care is having a canned food drive now till June 21st. So the next time you come in to have your teeth checked, just bring in 10 cans with you and you will receive 10% off your visit. Oak Ridge Dental Care is located at 9590 Southwest Highway 200. Call with questions, 414-4952. Please note, offers not to apply towards account balances or dental services already delivered and not in conjunction with any other offers, discounts, or reduced fees plans. Just Google it. Oak Ridge Dental Care.
25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Not a bad-looking Thursday. 81 degrees. Temperatures are expected to get a little bit warmer. 90 is the expected high today with lows around 61. I kept telling you all morning long that there was rain in the forecast, and now they took it away, Robin. It was there all morning long, but I guess the weather god decided not to bring rain to us. We need rain, but... Okay, so I'm looking at the... So I don't understand. It says there's no mention of rain, but then it says... Hold on. It says a 68% of chance of precipitation by 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, Friday morning. So I don't know. Just
we're okay.
Whatever. We need rain.
Good.
We need rain, but we don't want rain tomorrow night because tomorrow night's First Friday Art Walk.
That's right.
Do we have an outdoor gig tonight?
Yes, we do.
So we have
6 to 8. So it can't rain those 2 hours.
A man with a pure heart is what I call myself. Linda Tillis is in the studio, and she's written, and she's been with us before. You are an amazing writer. You just everything about a writer. You are a writer. I mean, through and through. You have an amazing background. Robin gave me this. It says you worked in the garment industry for 18 years. You worked as a crime scene investigator in forensics for 20 years. Oh my gosh. We could talk about that. What did you see? You're a nature photographer. That probably gets your mind off of what you saw. You were a dispatcher for 911?
Citrus County.
Do we say 911 or 911? I was confused.
It's 911 for us.
A call taker for 7 years, a member of the Sunshine State Romance Authors. That's really where your heart is, isn't it?
It is.
And Linda Tillis, good to see you again.
Thank you.
Where do you live?
I live in Citrus County.
And what city?
Well, it's called Dunellen.
Oh, I know Dunellen.
I'm in the Citrus County portion of Dunellen. Dunellen actually is counted through 2 counties, Marion and Citrus.
And is it Citrus Springs? Is that the area?
No, close to, but not right in Citrus Springs.
Oh, okay. Because I grew up in. I didn't grow up. I grew up in New York, but I mean, I went to my last year of school in Dunellen.
Oh, really?
My last year of high school. Yeah. So I was kind of familiar with that area. Well, tell me about this new book. This is an interesting outline. I read the outline. Samuel Hinton falls in love with Kathleen Campbell, and she falls in love with him. Yes. Right?
Yes.
But they don't. But he does. He thinks they shouldn't, right? Because he's afraid she's going to be killed.
Well, he grew up with a very bad experience, which is all in the first book, A Heart Made for Love. Mm-hmm. And he was kind of hesitant. He's 24. He's always known that eventually, he's a very godly young man, and he's always known that eventually he would meet someone to love, and this just kind of took him by surprise. So he is a little hesitant, but then he accepts the fact that it may be time. This may be the woman God has sent him. And then as they meet because he is working the death of her sister, who was the local school teacher, and that's how they meet. And so he's involved with that murder, and then he realizes he may be working with a serial killer. And he is very concerned about that and the fact that he's come to despise this man so much that he's afraid he won't be able to bring him into justice, that when he finds him, he just might kill him, which goes against everything
his own feelings.
His own personal...
Because of his love for her?
Well, that and his Christian upbringing.
No, that would keep him from killing him.
Well...
Right? Oh, no.
That's his conflict.
Oh, wow.
And it's a conflict that a lot of law enforcement deals with.
I bet, yeah.
No police officer gets up in the morning and say, hey, today I might kill somebody.
Yeah, right.
They all say, please, God, don't put me in a position where I have to make that decision.
Oh, my gosh.
Because it's such a hard one.
And you've seen some of this in your real life, huh? With the forensics work you did?
Oh, sure. I've known wonderful men who have been put in that position and had to make that choice. And you do what you've been trained to do, but that doesn't necessarily help with your internal conflict.
And I'm sure that lasts forever. It probably never goes away,
sure.
right?
Sure. It's
Wow, the work that you do and the work that you've done. So a lot of that, it's almost like, we get prepared for everything that happens tomorrow. And so everything, when you're writing, a lot of your history shows up in the way you craft a story.
I really enjoy that time period. I was born in Appalachia, which is a very poor country area here in the United States, and it's so to go back in time is like very comforting to me.
Do you read audiobooks? I mean, your voice is perfect for your. Do you do
You're marvelous.
audiobooks?
No, but I'm considering it.
Oh my gosh, you got to do it, and don't let somebody else read them. You've got.
Oh, bless your heart.
I would love listening to it. Listening to
thank you.
you tell your own story.
But you are a wonderful storyteller. I mean, gosh, just sitting here, you're telling us a story about yourself. And when you do book signings and workshops, you really do keep the audience mesmerized.
Well, funny thing about this book, it started with one sentence, the very first sentence.
What is the sentence?
And that is, there are 3 men, well, it's 2 sentences. There are 3 men in the room, 3 men and a dead woman. And I always sit down to the computer and say, okay, what is this book going to be about? I don't know. And then a sentence will come to me, and then I go from there.
Oh my gosh, that sentence came to you?
Oh, yeah.
My sentence would be, there are 3 brownies on that plate.
That's my go-to after writing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And when you said it starts with one sentence, I was thinking, well, don't all books start with one sentence?
Yes, but that first sentence for me sets the tone for the whole book.
Yeah, I got what you said after you told us what the sentence
Very
was.
powerful. Very powerful.
So you didn't know. I mean, but
Well, I did in a way know because a young girl that I used to work with, Christina Libner, if you're listening, Christina, thank you very much.
thank God if she's listening. I thought
After-
you were going to tell us she was.
No.
No longer. Yeah,
After
okay.
she read the first book, she was one of my readers, what I call my readers. I would write 3 or 4 chapters, email it to her, and she would read it and come back and say, "Oh, that's good. Give me some more."
Yeah.
And so when she finished reading the first book, she said, "I always wish I'd had a brother like Samuel." And I knew right then that I was going to have to write a story for Samuel. But I didn't know what it was going to be. And I didn't want it. I wanted him to be an adult and to face adult things. And using his past was...
Everybody
I was
wants a
able to-
brother like Samuel, but very few
yeah.
women want a boyfriend like Samuel. Because he's too good.
I know. Women tend to go for the bad
It
boys,
is
don't
weird.
they?
Yeah, I don't know why.
And I don't know what that.
What
I
is it?
think it's because it's a motherly instinct in us, and we always think we can fix them.
Exactly.
And that never happens. So get over that, girls. If you're listening, you ain't gonna fix him.
Did you know Samuel is your husband Samuel?
My husband is a Samuel. He didn't need any fixing.
Were you after the bad boy?
No,
need
well,
fixing.
honey,
You were never after the bad boy
in my
your
younger life.
Yeah.
But when my husband and I met, we were both mature enough to realize that that ain't what makes
Well,
it
men do
work.
the same thing, though. Just to be fair.
Oh, sure.
I mean, we go after
Yeah.
the girls that look like they could rip your throat out.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The
I know.
biker chicks, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, biker chicks.
Well, this is really wonderful because when we were made aware that this was a sequel to the first book, it still is a standalone book.
Oh, yes. I tried very much to make it a standalone so that someone who just, picked it up and said, "Oh, I'll read that," would realize that they had a full book, and then they could know that they could go back and read the other stories. So, yeah.
I'd be suspicious of a Samuel.
Well, I'll tell you what, in this day and age, it's hard to find a good Samuel.
You'd have to know that he wasn't just faking it, because there's a lot of times, and you see this, and forgive me, anybody who's a preacher, and I don't mean to say this is true, but you see somebody who could be a preacher, he's like a perfect guy, and then you read in the news, he's a mass murderer or he's a rapist or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's today's world. officers will arrest someone, and immediately the mother and the whole neighborhood says, "Oh my God, he was a perfect child.
Right, I know.
Great boy." But
I know.
you've just committed a triple murder. Yeah. You just have to get to know someone.
We're not going away, but we have to take a little break. Linda Tillis is in the studio, delighting us as she did the last time. Her new book is called A Man with a Pure Heart. We will talk about Samuel Hinton, Kathleen Campbell, and the rest of the story a little bit. We don't want to give out too much.
1910.
Obviously, we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Thursday, times of sun and clouds and becoming breezy. With a shower or thunderstorm in spots later on, the high 86 to 90. Mostly cloudy Thursday night with a couple of showers and even a heavy thunderstorm around, especially late at night. The overnight, though, 62 in the northern part of the zone to 71 in the south. Friday, cloud and a shower or thunderstorm giving way to some afternoon sun, high 75 to 79. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
On this episode of What Not to Do, brought to you by
Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it.
Holy what have you done to my kitchen?
Oh, honey, how is it? I never know when she's coming home.
What are all these pipes laying around? Why is my dishwasher in the living room, and why is the carpet all wet?
Well, remember that fancy new kitchen remodel you've always wanted?
Oh, I do, and this is not it.
But I thought I might save some money by doing it myself.
You thought wrong. I promise this is going to cost you way more. You should have called in the professionals at Mike Scott Plumbing, because I'm pretty sure when I flush the toilet, water is not supposed to come out of the sink.
Noticed that, did you?
The next thing I'm going to notice is you calling Mike Scott Plumbing like you should have done in the first place.
Yes, dear. 866-314-4443.
Yes, 866-314-4443.
That played out so differently in my head.
on next week's episode of What Not to Do.
No, not monkeys.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
Tired of looking at stained carpets, dirty tile, or grout? Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. Make your flooring look great again. Stains, pet odors, allergies. Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. From serving our country to serving our community. Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. Residential and commercial. Their work is guaranteed along with your satisfaction. Check their website, silverbackrestoration.com.
The Orlando Fringe is back for its 26th annual festival, May 16th through the 29th, with over 1,200 performances from local, national, and international performing arts companies, plus area high school thespians. There's something for everyone at the Orlando Fringe. Enjoy the sounds at the free outdoor stage and bring the kids for Kids Fringe on the weekends. For tickets and information, visit orlandofringe.org. See you at the Fringe. If you don't go, you'll never know.
All right, 12 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. If you like romance novels, you're going to like this one. Samuel Hinton and Kathleen Campbell are not in the studio. Well, they sort of are.
Yeah.
In the body of Linda Tillis, who created them. I think men read romance novels secretly.
I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, I think so.
Writing Samuel's story, I was concerned that I might have too much of the feminine come through, and I tried to make him, a normal rough and tumble guy, and I wasn't sure if that came across as well as it should. Of course, women, they just love the romance, but the book is not just a romance, and so I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure that came through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was most excellent. I thought.
I think what men.
I did have a man read the first one and was kind enough to leave me a nice review on Amazon. And I think he's the wife of a young lady that I used to work with. Oh, the husband, rather.
I was going to say, it was one of those relationships.
Sorry, Adam.
That's a 2017 relationship.
No. And he left a good review, and I thought, okay, he read it. I would hope that, or I would think that he would probably enjoy the second one more because it is more of a man's book than a woman, because it's telling a man's story.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. I don't really know the answer to the question, but I think we're all human, and all of the stereotypes we think about the opposite sex are probably not exactly true.
True.
So because we like men. When I say we like romance, obviously, but I mean a good story is always a good story.
I felt that way. As long as I kept it to a good story, it wouldn't really matter if it was viewed from the feminine or the masculine side. So,
But he's got, the emotion and everything there, but he still has the protector code
yes.
on too. So that's a good balance.
He's a remarkable young man in that he lost his mother at an early age and dealt with a tremendous. Just as he was reaching an age and lost his mother, he was developing a difficulty of handling his anger. And his mother was working with him on that when she passed away. And so he had to work through that, and he's trying to fight that as he's looking for this man.
You see, and I think what you've done, what you've crafted very cleverly, it's probably not a good word, but you've taken the romance part of this. And as anybody, man or woman, reading it, that romance that's happening in the story is definitely influencing how he wants to do his job of finding the bad guy.
Yes.
Right? It's
Yes.
definitely affecting it. If that wasn't there, if he was just a private investigator looking for a bad guy, that romance really spices up the whole story.
Well, it's important.
Yeah.
And when you're a member of Romance Writers of America, which is a very big organization, it's worldwide, they require that your book, to be a member, a writer with them, your book has to have a romantic theme in there. Doesn't have to be the major theme, but there must be a romance with a happy ending or the promise of a happy ending in a sequel. You need to move.
Oh, that's tough.
Move forward. Boy.
Yeah.
I don't have a happy ending, but the next book.
Well, and the implication has to be there during your book.
Oh, man.
If you don't have the happy ending, then you must give the appearance that, oh yeah, everything's fine, and it'll get even better in the next one. So,
I do like the era, though, the
I do, too.
1910.
Oh, yeah, let's
because-
mention that. It's because...
Yeah, because the way things were investigated back then are sort of different from now, but it was just a totally wonderful era, I thought.
well, law enforcement back then, of course, was intuition. You didn't have all the tools and things that you have now. And so the era itself is wonderful to me because, they were well past the Civil War. We hadn't come into World War I yet. And it was a time when if you worked hard, you could accumulate your wealth. And most people were godly based. They had been raised up from children through the church and what have you. And I just liked the period because it's peaceful. Of course, you've always got your bad guys wherever you are or whatever time period you're in. But to me, and I think again, because I was born and raised a lot up until I was 10 years old in coal mining country, which is a very simple life. Everybody had a garden. Everybody had a cow. You did your own milking. You had your chickens.
Everybody had a garden. Everybody had a cow.
Oh, yeah.
I just love that.
Well, you had to. That's how you lived. And it's just easy for me to write.
Did you kill the cow?
This-
Did you just use it for milk?
Oh, please. No, you had a milk cow, but you had a
Oh.
beef that you
Oh.
butchered for your family. Yeah. Oh, I can remember my grandfather going out hunting and coming home when I was a child, and I would hold the feet of the rabbit while he skinned it.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Was it dead already?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay.
It was dead.
Oh, man. I was picturing it kicking.
No. So it was easier if someone held one end, then you could skin away from that end all the way to the other.
Do you have your book with you?
Actually, I'm sorry, I did not bring a copy with me.
Gosh, I was going to ask you just to read a part. I just love the way you talk. You have to do an audiobook.
Well, thank you. I'll consider that.
Who do we know in Denell that has a studio? We have to have somebody. Maybe you can come over here and do it.
like I said, one of the girls in my group has just had one done, and as soon as I get a chance to speak with her, I'm going to find out what the process was and look into that.
Does your family support you in all of your writing?
My husband is a rock. Mm-hmm. He can tell when I'm having an issue somewhere in the book.
You just got brownie points. I don't know if you need them, but you just got them.
Oh, no, he doesn't need them. He knows.
No, you, if you need them.
Oh, me? No, he's just awesome. And if I'm
What's his name?
His name is William, but
William.
he's Beau. B-E-A-U.
Oh, you call him Beau?
Yeah, that's his nickname. Has been since he was a child.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And he is so supportive that he can tell if I've got a problem somewhere, and he'll say, okay, let's talk about the scene. And we'll talk it out, and he'll have ideas. They won't necessarily be ideas that I'll use, but they will trigger other things in my mind as we're talking about it, and I'll eventually work the problem out.
Oh, how
very
great.
nice.
How
The
great.
creative process is different for everybody, I think.
Oh, yes.
So it's,
Oh,
it's
yes.
an interesting thing. Wow. So how do you know when, or do you ever know that, this is a better way, do you ever know that you need to go back and change something? Like, does something happen in the story on page 200, and you say, oh my gosh, what would make this better if on page 50?
Oh, yes.
Does that happen? No, really?
Yes. Yeah, and it's just, you'll get an idea for a scene, and you'll say, oh, that's good, but wait a minute, I'll have to go back and plant a seed somewhere for that, and you'll go back and find a spot to work up to that.
Do you ever feel like sometimes the characters might be compromised a little bit in their own personalities?
Well, this is only the second book, and I've probably only dealt deeply with about 8 characters, and they've all been pretty true to themselves. Mm-hmm. They've grown through the process. Each of them had inner conflicts that they had to deal with and have worked through. Like for May, in the first book, her having been assaulted was a very difficult thing. But by the end of the book, she was strong enough to fight back. Mm-hmm. And so, she worked her internal conflict out. So
the first 2 lines in the room, there was 3 men, and then 3 men and a dead woman, right?
yes.
Do you do character development on the dead woman? In other words, do we go to, like, what do you call them, flashbacks or retrospectives? And
Backstory. It's referred to as backstory
Thank
when
you.
you're writing. Only what her sister gives, who her sister
About
is now
her.
in the book,
Uh-huh.
and her sister discusses their home life as children for here and there. But it's not much of a backstory because the story's sadly not really about her. I'm sorry.
do you know
I killed her off on the first page. So
we have in our new technology this thing you put on your face called virtual reality, and they said to help you escape. A book has been doing this for since the beginning of books.
it is the absolute escape. And people say, live your life because you've only got one to live. Well, you read enough and you become a different person with a different life in every book you read. Because if it's a good book, it takes you in.
Yeah.
You get into the book and you live whoever your favorite character in the book is, or just the time period.
One of the very first interviews that I ever did in radio, it was a long, long time ago. The lady was an author, and she said when she was young, she was poor, and she had friends in school who were wealthier, had wealthier families than her, and they'd come back from summer vacation bragging about all the places they had been. And she would say, well, I went to Paris, and I went to London, and I went to 1910. And what? You went to 1910? I went to the library.
Exactly.
That was her thing, and she grew up to become an author.
I was an avid reader all of my teenage years. I made a little extra money along in high school writing book reports for those who were too lazy to read.
Oh, no!
Oh, yes.
Oh, no!
Oh, yes.
Hope you made some extra cash.
I would get $1, $2 if it was a long book.
Did the teacher know that it wasn't them?
No,
Oh, no!
Do you have any book signings coming up, or
No, I don't have any scheduled right now. I want to get with a couple of libraries. I like to set them up in libraries.
How do we get your book? We have 1 minute.
It's on Amazon. It's at Barnes & Nobles, Goodreads, and the Wild Rose Press.
It's called A Man with a Pure Heart. Linda Tillis spells her name exactly as it sounds. Linda, you're a joy. I really, really love you, and hopefully you'll come in one day and say, you know what, I did the audiobook.
Oh, that would be awesome.
And I will put it in my car, and I will be listening to it every morning.
Thank you so much.
Because I only work 4 miles away, so live 4 miles away.
Short trip.
And you have a website of your very own.
Linda Tillis, author.com.
LindaTillisAuthor.com.
Yes.
Linda, thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
All right, we will be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOC.